Nairobi Love by Chemi Chemi presents to you actor Simeon! Come on guys, let's hear it louder!
I appreciate you, whoever you are. I know who's coming home with me. Thank you. And someone here was like, no! That's not the show I came for. You don't know what show you came for. You don't know. Nairobi, how you guys doing this evening? How are you? We can do better than that. How are you doing this evening? I'm so excited to be back. First of all, a round of applause for all the other comedians you've seen tonight. Give them a round of applause. Yeah. Except Doug Mutai. Except him. That's a garbage human being because he did a joke. You guys remember that joke about taking photos of homeless people in London? That joke is perfect, by the way, first of all. I got so mad because I was like, oh, that's a joke I was going to write. I just hadn't thought of it yet. I got so sad listening to that joke. And then I remembered I live in Canada and he doesn't. So I'm going to be doing that joke from now on. And you guys just support me online, okay? When you see it online, just be like, Doug stole this guy's joke. Doug. Nairobi, it's good to be back. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm actually genuinely grateful all of you came out tonight, especially the ones who paid for tickets. Because there are some Ugandans that showed up and wanted to get in for free. They're my family. It's depressing. No, I'm genuinely happy to be back. I announced, we organized this a few months ago. I always come home for the holidays, and home is Uganda, so I was like, yeah, I'll come down to Nairobi and do some shows. And the crew that brings me out here, they were like, okay, we'll wait for Christmas to end, and then we'll start like promoting and so we put up the poster. Some of you might have seen it on social media or whatever it is, and we put up the poster, and the first thing one of my boys hit me up, he's Ugandan. I have to specify this particular piece of information. He's highly educated. He has a bachelor's, a master's degree. He has a very, very lucrative job. He sends me a screenshot of the poster going, hey, you're going to be in Nairobi. Send me the details. And I was like, the poster is the details. That is... The poster has the date I'm going to be there, the time I am going to be there. What I'm saying is sometimes education does not cure stupidity, is what I'm saying. He's actually not my friend, he's my cousin in the back, he's Brian. Anyways, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. I flew in this morning, and I have something to say real quick. First of all, both Uganda and Kenya airports are not ready to be airports. Do you understand? Like both. Have you ever, like the Ugandan airport is the only airport in the world where both the passengers and the employees don't know what is happening every single time. If you've ever gone through the Ugandan airport, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everyone is just walking around being like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know. Today, a man asked security if he could walk through the metal detector with his laptop. Do you understand how stupid a question that is? They've asked you to put your cell phone and your belt in the bin, but you're like, no, they'll let me walk through with my laptop. And then I landed in your beautiful city, and I didn't have my yellow fever card. I know, all of you are like, whoa. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I forgot about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to flex on them. I'm going to flex. And I was like, I live in Canada. We don't have yellow fever, bitch. Right? Like, I didn't say it like that. I didn't say it like, but that's how I thought about it. That's how I thought about it. And they were like, no. If you're coming in from Uganda, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in Uganda for more than 48 hours, you need your yellow fever card. I was like, no, I don't have. I've been vaccinated. I don't have it. And they were like, well, we're gonna send you back. And I was like, oh no. And then I remembered, I'm in East Africa. We're going to negotiate. We're gonna negotiate. I know exactly what they're trying to tell me. And I was like, all right, let's dance. Let's dance. I was like, there's gotta be another way. There's gotta be another way. I know your president. I know your president. And the man looked at me and is like, there is another way. We can vaccinate you right now. And I was like, that seems like an aggressive way to start. That seems, I was hoping we could just sit in an office and talk like two men. Why do vaccines have to come out immediately? And it's like, that will cost you $50 US. It will cost you $50 US, but also you can just give us $50 US and we'll let you in. And I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Because they were like, do you want to be vaccinated again? I'm like, I don't know anything about medicine. I don't know if you get 2 yellow fever vaccines, if one cancels the other out, or if now I have double yellow fever. I don't know. Now here's the best part. We started negotiating the bribe. We went from, I'm going to vaccinate you, to give me the $50. And I was like, I don't have 50, I have $60, but I need to survive for the weekend. I'm here for 3 days. I need to survive. And the guy was like, fine, give me $30. You keep 30. I think that will be enough to get through the weekend. I'm like, in which Nairobi? Are you insane? Are you? Finally, we settled on $15 US. What I'm saying to everyone in this room, it costs $15 US to spread yellow fever in all of Kenya. That is what. If you're wondering what the going rate, you're not ready to be an airport. Do you understand? You're not ready. I beg you, try and walk into America or England or Canada and just be like, yeah, I'm here to spread viruses. Here's $15 and see how that works out for you. Kenya, you go right in. Anyways, I've been in this room for over an hour already. Good luck, everyone. Yellow fever. Did you guys, how many people here got vaccinated for COVID? Round of applause if you had a COVID vaccine. Okay. Did Nairobi, and this is, I'm not trying to get in all of your business, but did Nairobi have anti-vax people? Like, were there people who were like, no, we're not gonna, were there? Okay, cool. I didn't know that was a thing, like, because I spent lockdown in Canada, because Canada had free weed. They were, like, during lockdown, like, I panicked, because this is what I do for a living. They were like, no one goes anywhere, everyone stay home. I was like, no. And they were like, but don't worry, the weed companies and the booze companies will be delivering to your door. And I was like, let's do this, let's go. And sure enough, weed and booze is showing up to the house. I was like, let's go, right? And then my family in Uganda was like, are you gonna come down for lockdown? I was like, no, Canada is cooking right now, Canada. And they were like, but don't you miss us? I'm like, not enough. In fact, if I get the right kind of weed, I forget you exist. To be honest with you, what's your name again? I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again? And so anyways, so lockdown, and then vaccines came out, and being African, when they were like, oh, we're gonna get vaccines, I was like, I have like 12 of them already floating in there. A 13th is no problem. Put it in there, right? Because you grow up here, you get vaccinated for polio, you get vaccinated for meningitis, you get vaccinated for like changing presidents. Anyways, in Uganda there's a vaccine. Anyways, we don't do that. Anyways, we're like, new president? We don't like that vaccine. So then I have friends Canadian, because the thing is, I understood anti-vax sentiments in Canada, because in Canada, they only have 3 diseases, okay? They have 3 diseases. They have the flu, they have cancer, and they have depression. Those are the only 3, and only one of those you can even get a vaccine. That's it. So I understood the people were like, no, I don't want to put anything. But here's the thing. My friends who were anti-vax were too stupid to be anti-vax, and I'll explain why. One of my boys called me up. He's like, I'm not going to get the vaccine. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, why? He goes, I'm like, did you talk to your doctor or something? He goes, no. I watched a 15-minute video on YouTube. I know everything there is to know about vaccines. I was like, that's not how that works, okay? Also, you're being a hypocrite because you'd never, ever get on a plane where the pilot was like, yeah, I just watched a 15-minute video on YouTube. I think I could get this plane in the air. Let's go, everyone. You'd never walk into surgery where a surgeon was like, yeah, I just watched a 15-minute video on YouTube. I think I know where your spleen is. Let's go. And my boy was like, no, I'm not going to get the vaccine because they made it too fast. I was like, based on what experience of making anything did you come up with a timeline for how long it takes to make a vaccine? You know what else they make too fast? Burgers at McDonald's every single day, and I've never seen you complain once. Do you understand? Like every time you go to McDonald's, you're like, oh, can I get why is it already here? Why? I didn't even. And he was like, no, I'm not going to get the vaccine because I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it. I was like, even if they gave you the list of ingredients, you still wouldn't know what was in it. None of us know what's in a vaccine. None of us, except for maybe the biochemists in the room. Everyone else was just like, yeah, put that thing in me. Also, I've seen this guy get a lap dance in some of the most disgusting Canadian strip clubs, where he put the stripper's titty in his mouth, and not once did he look at me and be like, I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it. Anti-vax sentiment. No, but I'm really happy to be here. I've been spending time with my family, and it came at a price. I have nephews now who are grown, and unfortunately we stopped beating kids so they get disrespectful. We should bring that back. Do you remember when Africa was a continent? When we used to punch kids in the face? We should go back to that. Because, thank you very much. We need to punch children again, because my nephew looked at me the other day and he was like, you must be the only celebrity no one knows. But I stole his joke and now I'm getting paid for it. Fuck you, you know? That's how it works. It was his birthday last week. I was like, yo, I'll take you out. Let me know where you want to go. I'll take you out. It's your birthday. You're old enough to drink. Let's go. He sends me a text and he goes, hey, I found a place we can go where people your age can also have fun. People, that is no one ever uses people your age with respect. Do you understand? Every time. Okay, now it's getting fun and sexy. No. Spotlight, did I do something or did you guys not pay for electricity? This is very intimate now. Although with my skin tone, now it's just a microphone screaming at you guys, so deal with it. Some of you are like, where did he go? I'm still here. I want to put my shoes up. But so yeah, my nephew goes, people your age, and people your age is a very disrespectful. We always use people your age for like, people your age shouldn't be outside right now. People your age should stop drinking. People your age should go to sleep. It's very disrespectful. But then I also looked at him and I'm like, people your age don't have so many joys in life that people my age have. Is there anyone in the room over 35 years old? Every 35? Yeah, there we go. Okay. How many people in the room are under 30? Yeah. So people your age have never had the joy of a long argument. Do you remember those days, okay? a long, delicious argument. You'd meet up with your boy and you'd be like, no, you don't understand. In 1992, Uganda beat Kenya 3 times in 1 year in a football match. And your boy's like, no, Kenya beat Uganda 3 times in 1 year. And you'd go on for 3 days arguing about this. And it would be joy. You'd break for lunch and you'd come back. And now, people their age, every argument ends in 15 seconds. You know why? Because they have phones now, okay? You'll be like, no, in 1992, Uganda beat Kenya 3 times. And someone will be like, no, actually, you're wrong. And you'll be like, yeah, I was wrong. I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the day. I don't know. Actually, I think I'm just going to go to sleep. Because that was the beautiful thing. You would argue and you would lie. You were able to lie. You would just be like, no, I was there. I watched Uganda beat Kenya 3. I was in the stadium for all 3 games. And someone would be like, no, you were not. Yes, I was. Today, people was like, no, there's footage. You were not there. You had. But back in my day, it would just be like, no, I was there. And someone would be like, do you have proof? And I was like, yes, I took photos. I just haven't developed them yet. I just haven't. I'm just going to. I'll get back to you when I develop them. People your age. Young people, I feel are under too much pressure. Social media has changed the game. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a post. I saw a profile of a lovely, beautiful woman. Profile, cool. And her bio said, surgeon. And then it said, and I also do makeup. What? No, surgeon was enough. What are you doing? Have we reached a point that people are now reading surgeon and going, but what else? What else? How many TikTok followers do you have? How many? I'm afraid that we're going to get a point where there's going to be an African family where a woman is going to walk into the house and tell her father and mother and siblings, I just graduated from medical school, and all of them are going to be very sad. They're going to be like, no, why can't you be like your sister? She does makeup, and she has 100,000 followers on TikTok. What are you doing? Oh, you're patching people up and repairing them? What a loser, what a loser. At least Rebecca here knows the difference between foundation and mascara. Get out of here, get out of here. Also, I don't mean to be this person, but I don't want my surgeon to have a side gig. Just out of respect. If there are any surgeons in the room, I hope you spend every single day of your lives practicing your stitching. That's all I want. I don't want... When is a surgeon practicing the makeup? Like during surgery? Like just cutting and being like, oh, I could add more foundation on your face as I cut. What a world we live in. I'm so excited to be back in Nairobi. I fly all the time. The last time I left here, I like to book the emergency exit row seats in economy. Or as I like to call it, first class for peasants. Because you have the legroom of first class, but you're still surrounded by poor people, right? But the way the airlines do it, they lay you on the plane first. Like when you're in the emergency, they're like, no, you can come in first. So I always let everyone else know as they're getting on, I'm like, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. I'm $47 better than you. Like I'm not in business class yet, but I'm $47 closer than the rest of you poor people. Anyways, I'm on this flight, right? 15 minutes in, I have my legs stretched out. Flight attendant walks up to me and goes, excuse me, sir. I'm gonna have to ask you to retract your legs. And I was like, what? And she goes, I'm gonna have to ask you. I'm like, no, I heard what you said. I just don't understand why. She's like, well, you're sitting in the emergency exit row. If we need to use the emergency exit, your legs will be blocking the rest of the passengers. Thank you. I laughed as well. Because I was like, I don't think you know how emergency exits work, okay? Because if we need to use that emergency exit, these legs will be the first through that exit. These legs are attached to these arms that are going to 100% open that exit in case of an emergency. I won't even wait for you guys to tell me. The moment I feel the right kind of turbulence, I'm calling it for the group. Do you understand? Like, you gave me the whole speech at the beginning of the flight. I'm the captain now. Like, I will do this. Like, as soon as the plane's like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Let's go. What do you mean my legs are blocking the rest of the passengers? What has happened on this flight that everyone else is trying to jump over me? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, you guys go ahead. You guys go ahead. No, I'll meet you downstairs. I'll meet you downstairs. I paid an extra $47. I'm going down with the plane. Has the plane been split in half? Is that what's happening? That my upper body is floating around somewhere, but my legs are still stretched out. In that case, we don't need that emergency exit. A new one has opened up on the flight, a new one. Police was waiting for me when we landed. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone in this room, but I'll also bring up plane crashes. I'm just gonna tell you real quick. I think of myself as a nice person. I think of myself as a decent human being. I think of myself as someone who was raised right. And then sometimes I have a thought and I go, oh no, I think I'm a terrible human being. Because here's what happens. Every time there's a plane crash, like a commercial plane crash, like most of every person in this room, I feel pain for the families that are affected by this. I genuinely do. I'm like, oh no. That is a horrendous thing to be going through. A loved one is not going to come home, right? That's my first reaction. My second reaction is that, oh no, on every one of these flights, there was someone eating healthy. And working out. And they died. Oh! And they died sitting next to someone like me. No! Can you imagine the last moments of your time on this planet just being like, I'm dying next to this guy who brought his own bacon sandwiches onto the flight. This is the guy. I know I'm a terrible person. I know, but now you all laughed. You're terrible with me. That's how I feel better about myself. And that's why on every flight I take extra bacon sandwiches. Just in case, okay? Because you know how it is, right? The pilot will get on the little mic and be like, ladies and gentlemen, I tried my best, but we're not gonna make it. Okay, we're not gonna make it. Turns out watching a 15-minute video on YouTube is not enough. For those who are religious, may God bless you all. For those who are not, good luck. Right? And the masks are going to start dropping, and pressure is going to start dropping, and people are going to start praying and freaking out. Not me. No. I'm just going to get up and look for the fittest person on the flight. It's going to keep looking around. I'm going to find them. Oh, I'm going to walk over to them, pull out a bacon sandwich, and be like, listen, one last piece of joy before we go. One last. Because even though I'm a terrible person, I was raised right. Thank you. I had a very weird incident. Last thing about flights before I change. This is a true story. I had a very weird incident on a flight this year. First time ever this has ever happened to me. I got on a flight and my seat was taken. Like someone was in my seat. And I was like, oh no. And I double checked, you know when you double check your boarding pass? I looked up, I was like, I think that's my seat. And the person was like, no, it's my seat. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's my seat. I booked the window seat. And they were like, no. And they looked at me and they go, I know, it gets confusing sometimes. Yeah, I know. So now you know it was a white woman. I know, it was a white woman. Because that level of condescension only comes from a white woman. And I was like, I want to fight you. But you can't just, as an African man, you can't just go around punching white women on international flights. So I chose to fight the white woman way. I went and called the manager. And in this case, the manager was one of 3 flight attendants working. I chose the black one because I like chaos, okay? So I walked over to the beautiful black flight attendant. I was like, excuse me, is this the window seat? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, there's someone in my seat. She goes, okay, let me go with you. I will help you solve this problem and we'll be on our way. And we walk over and she looks over at the lovely white lady that was sitting in the seat and goes, excuse me, that's this gentleman's seat. And the white lady looks at her and goes, no, it's not. And I was like, let's go. Let's go. You just told a black woman at her job she doesn't know what she's doing. Let's go. Woo! Now everyone sees me dancing and they're like, what's happening? What's happening to this guy? I'm like, it's about to go down, right? But the flight attendant has to be in customer service mode. She's like, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but this gentleman, his letter is like M or whatever, and that's the window seat. Your letter is like O or whatever, and that's the aisle seat. And this guy goes, no, right? And I'm like, let's go. Right? Now people are now invested. Everyone is watching me dancing. They're like, is this guy getting an upgrade or whatever? I'm like, no, it's a party, let's go. Right? So this woman, the flight attendant, has to go into kindergarten mode. She goes, is everyone in the window, are you all like L? And they were like, yeah. And she goes, everyone in the aisle, are you like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm the mayor of this flight, let's go. So now, because of peer pressure, this lovely white lady gets up, looks at me and goes, do you even want the window seat? And I was like, did you think I did all of this just to dance on a plane? No. Yes, I want my window seat. And so she goes off and then she seats in the aisle seat. Now, I have to remind you guys about something. There was a middle seat that was going to be empty for the whole flight. And it took everything in me, because I'm very petty, not to sit in the middle seat. And just put my sweater in the window seat like, oh, I'm so sorry. But I couldn't do that, so I sat in my window seat, I strapped myself in, and she starts grumbling. She's like, I can't believe it. I'm always in the window seat. I mean, what do you mean always? This is one flight that we're taking. Is this a taxi for you? What do you mean I'm always? She's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I just leaned over. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know it gets confusing sometimes. And then I stayed awake because the cutlery was metal. They liked that one. They didn't like people your age. We'll figure that one. I do live in Canada, but I was born in Uganda. Yeah, Canada is great. But grew up in Uganda, live in Canada, travel, been lucky to travel the world doing this. I feel very blessed, very grateful. But here's the thing, when you live in Canada, you realize white people, and I see some white people in the crowd, I'm so sorry, Hungary, and all the other white people in the room, you have a very different version of growing up poor than the rest of us. Do you understand? Kenyans, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You ever talk to a white person and they try and convince you they grew up poor, right? It's always the same thing, like, we grew up so poor. All my clothes were secondhand. I had secondhand video games. We only had pizza twice a week. Like, we barely had anything. I only had 3 pairs of shoes. Like, we were so poor. And I'm like, you just described luxury. That's what you just described. That is, what do you mean video games? What are you talking about? Right? Because if you ask any of the people in this room who actually grew up poor, who are Kenyan or East African in general, it's like, what did you have growing up? It's like, we had saliva. We had fire. We could make fire sometimes by burning stuff that was around us. We had fire. We had saliva. Did I mention saliva? We had saliva. We had Jesus. We had Jesus. Jesus was there with us. That's why I can never trust the white person who's like, oh, we grew up poor. I'm like, shut up. You don't know. Take your Nintendo somewhere else. I've started dating white women. That's my midlife crisis. Listen, I get it. You can judge me. I'm judging myself, okay? I lived in Canada a long time. Canada is one of the whitest countries. I'll get into that later. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stick to my African women, my Caribbean women, the black Canadian, whatever. And then I hit 40, and I was like, you know what? Time to try something new. And here's the thing. No one tells you when you start dating white women, especially as an African immigrant, life becomes a bit different, right? Because here's the thing. I thought my adoption window was closed. Turns out it wasn't. And this is the best kind of adoption, okay? Because they feed you, they put clothes on you, and then they fuck you as well. It's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't know if they do that to the African kids as well, but at least for me, oh, too far? Too far. Oh, like we haven't seen the documentaries. Stop it. It's amazing. But dating a Canadian girl, a white Canadian girl, comes with its own problems, right? Because they'll ask you questions you're not ready for. One night I was making sweet love to my girlfriend, sweet, sweet love, and don't get me wrong, I was bringing it, okay? Muscles were bulging, right? Yeah, she was moaning and screaming, I was moaning and screaming. Animalistic, right? Primitive. I'm looking into her eyes, she's looking into my eyes, and she was like, do they have Christmas trees in Africa? To this day, I still don't know what pissed me off more. The fact that she said, ask this while we're having sex, or the fact that I took time out to answer the question. Yes, we do. I'm gonna take a break because I did it. I stretched, and then like I realized I don't work out. That was a 15-minute workout. That was too much. But I do bring up white women because I live in Canada, and Canada is one of the whitest countries on the planet. And I say this because this is how you know when a country is very white. When it has money and it sucks at the Summer Olympics. That's how you know. Because Canada sucks at the Summer Olympics, okay? Like Canada always comes in like 16th, right? After like Uzbekistan, right? Like and that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. All the other like rich white countries, like the US, the UK, they're up there in the gold medal count. They're up there. Canada is like, no, and I'll tell you why, because Canada keeps sending white people to the Summer Olympics. I'm like, don't do that, okay? Every white person in this room knows what I'm talking about. They don't get along with the sun. The sun and white people don't get along. Like every white person is always like, summertime for all of 13 minutes. After that, it's shade, shade, shade. I drove around Nairobi today for 6 hours. I didn't see a single white person. I come to my show, there's like 12 of them because the sun has gone down. Do you understand? Like I can't. 10 years from Hungary, 10 years living in, I bet you they've never seen daylight. They've never seen daylight. Ask them, see. One of you, go after the show and be like, let's have lunch tomorrow and see how quickly they say no. How like? They'll be like, come to our cave. We're under. But Canada sends And I'm always like, don't do that. Don't send, because like my favorite race to watch is the 10,000 meter race, okay? That is the one where they run around the track for 3 months. And I always watch it because that is Uganda's best chance of a gold medal. No big deal, we won it again over you guys. Anyways, but the big thing is, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I had to bring that up. But I'm always watching the 10,000 meter race. And there's always a white Canadian in the starting lineup. Every single time. I'm like, don't do this. They've sacrificed you. There's not enough sunscreen in the world to save you, Brandon. Go home. Okay? People like me win the 10. I mean, not like me, but like me win the 10. Okay, you know what? Screw you, okay? I don't need to be judged at my own shows. But that's why other white countries figured it out, right? Other white countries were like, no, we're not getting left out. Have you ever seen? Like sometimes there'll be like the 5,000 meter race, right? They're running, some guy wins, right? They put up the graphic, it's like the gold medal, right? And they're like Dennis Chiptegei, and you're like, yeah. And then it's a Kenyan, a Norwegian flag. I'm like, no, that's a Kenyan. I know a Kenyan when I see one. Chiptegei from Norway, fuck off. Like, don't. No way he's Norwegian. Let me ask you a real quick question. How come there are traffic jams in Nairobi when all of you could just run everywhere? I don't understand. If you're such good runners, why would you spend an hour in traffic when you could just be like, let me get 40 minutes, I'll be 12 kilometers away. People always ask me about racism in Canada. Yes, there's racism. I face it. Racism in Canada sucks. Okay? I'm a black African immigrant and the racism sucks. But here's the thing. I'll bring this up. It's also very interesting, right? Because I'll give you an example. Like, I hate slave movies. Right? Not because people always think, is it because of the trauma? No. I hate slave movies. Because in every slave movie they make in Hollywood, the white people are always very one-dimensional. They're just evil white people that wanted to own other people. And I, for one, don't like that. Because I live in Canada, very white country, and I know for a fact, if you walk in enough white spaces, you know there's always going to be one white person that's going to show up at your lunch break and be like, listen, I'm different. I'm not like the other ones. I'm an ally. I've been to Thailand and Kenya. Like, I get it. I worked in Kenya for 10 years. Like, I'm an ally. I'm different. Okay? Which leads me to believe that statistically, there was at least one slave owner that wanted to be cool as well. Do you understand? Just going up to the slaves and being like, listen, don't even call me master, call me Nathaniel. I'm not like the others. I'm not even racist. Like, some of my favorite employees are black. Like, I'm still not going to pay you, but extra watermelon on Wednesdays. Extra watermelon. We'll call them Watermelon Wednesdays. You know what I'm talking about? That's a silly joke. Thank you. Someone came up to me and they were like, hey, you talk about slave trade. I'm like, I'm obsessed with it, right? I read a book that said most of African slave trade went through West Africa. Most of African slave trade went through West Africa, and I, for one, know exactly why. Because white people probably showed up on both coasts. It was just different. West Africans, very industrial people. They got there, these guys were working hard, put them in chains, threw them on boats. These guys were like, yeah, we'll get there and make businesses. Togo, Niger, Nigeria, Ghanaians were like Benin. They were like, yeah, we'll fucking we'll make it work. White people were like, this was easy. It's a hard working. And they came to East Africa. And East Africa is made up of only two categories of Africans. The first, Ethiopians, Eritreans, Kenyans, Somalis, long distance runners. White people showed up like, we're going to enslave you. These guys were like, no. White people jumped on horses. They're like, no, we're going to get you. They're like, no, no. 3 days later, the horses are dying. These guys are like, are they behind? Are they behind? Are they behind? Second group, Ugandans, Tanzanians, Rwandese, the laziest people on the planet. Like white people showed up in Uganda, they're like, we're going to enslave Ugandans. We're like, okay. How does this work? How does this work? They're like, we're going to put you in chains and we're going to like, okay, but can you do it under this mango tree? Because the sun is very hot right now. The sun. They're like, no, you're going to get on the boat. They're like, can the boat come here? Can the boat? See, you guys find that funny because you know Uganda is a landlocked country. You know how frustrating it is to tell that joke in Canada and people are like, why is that funny? Why is that? We don't get it. We don't get it. I did a show and someone came up to me and like, you know that's not what happened. I'm like, you weren't there. You weren't there. You weren't. We're all just guessing. We're all just guessing. This is not a history lesson. This is... No, it's frustrating. And people are like slave trade. I live in Canada and they're trying. Canadians are trying. In most cities, the public transit system has all these slogans like Black Lives Matter because they're trying to be progressive. And I saw that on a public bus and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You're trying to keep a conversation, going, and society has to heal and all that stuff. And then I was working with a white friend of mine and he was like, oh, what an amazing sacrifice on their part. Sacrifice. And I was like, no, this is still a public bus. I agree that they're trying to do something, but sacrifice is going too far because anyone in this room, doesn't matter where you live in the world, you know the rules. A public bus, once it shows up, you get on it. That's how it works, okay? It doesn't matter which slogan a bus is running, you never know when the next one is gonna come up. When a bus shows up, you get on it, okay? Like the head of the Ku Klux Klan in Canada, okay, could walk up to a bus stop and see a bus that says Black Lives Matter and you'll be like, no. I'm late for the Klan meeting! Anyone who has needed public bus in Kenya, Kampala, doesn't matter, London, doesn't matter which country, you know the rules. The bus shows up. You could walk up to a bus stop and the bus is like every child is sexy and you'll be like, no! I'm late for what? I'm just gonna get into this Catholic district school bus. Oh, too soon. Too soon. Take it up with the Vatican. But the thing about racism too is that the white people that in Canada, and I believe everywhere else, they always give themselves away. And I'll give you the perfect example. You ever listen to a white person talk about how they're not racist, right? They'll be like, me? No, I'm not racist. I don't care if you're black, blind, deaf. You're like, wait a minute, those things are not, why? Those last two are disability. Why are we being grouped? I thought you were going to go like black, white, brown. No, they go black, deaf, one eye, blind. They have no legs. I don't mind if you're like, what is? When did we become a disability? And I'm not here to make fun of people with disability. I'm just saying, being black, being branded with like blindness, that is unfair. That is unfair. And that's how I know every time someone says that, I'm like, oh, I'm on to you. I'm on to you. But here's the thing. I've been trying to use racism and bigotry for good. I live in Toronto, okay? And Toronto has those underground trains, the metro, whatever you want to call them, metro, subway, whatever you want to call it. We have one of those, okay? So I'm waiting for the train, right? I'm chilling, I'm waiting for the train, and this couple comes downstairs, and they're making out, full on making out. And I was like, that's disgusting. Don't do that. Okay, then I remembered I'm just being a hater. They help love, I don't. That's actually pretty cool, okay? But as soon as the train comes in, they'll stop doing that. Train comes in, we all get on, they don't stop. Instead, they rump it up. Now the guy's hand is going under the shirt. He's fondling things are getting a little passionate. I'm like, no, this is a public space. There could be kids on this train. You can't do that. But I can't just walk up to a passionate couple and tell them to stop making out. I'm an immigrant. They might deport me. Like, I can't. So I came up with the next best thing. I went and stood next to them. And then I made this sound. I was like, yeah. And then I closed my eyes and started licking myself. And then when I opened my eyes, they had left. And I looked around and no one was laughing. Funniest thing I've ever done in my life, not a single person was laughing. And that's when I realized no one knows who I am. I'm the only celebrity no one knows. So all they saw was a giant black man walk up to a very passionate white couple and make it a threesome without their permission. That is all they saw. None of those white people slept that night. But I did my part. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I truly, truly appreciate this. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good night.
Nairobi, one more time for authors. That was amazing.